My name is Rachelle Mozman, and I am a photographer based in New York and make work out of New York and also Panama. Well, my process tends to have foundations in things that are happening around me. So I'm interested in societal things. And that is kind of very aligned with a documentary tradition in photography. So I have some of those, that very strong root, but at the same time I'm also very conscious and sort of interested in playing with this idea of construction and sort of unraveling the idea of truth within photography and playing with theatricality and kind of digging into our memories and narratives. Yeah, I mean, I started out thinking about my grandmother, my mother, and her sister as these three women. And I even have a photograph that I look at occasionally because it's just these, three women, my grandmother, my mother, and her sister. And it really has like helped create sort of the vision of how I began to execute the series, because they, well, for different reasons, but one, just even the way that the pictures look, that, sometimes they look like old photographs, So the idea is that there's a dama of the house, and she's probably a widower, and she has a twin sister who's darker than her, and there's the maid, and they're all played by my mother. And then there's a daughter of the darker twin, and I appear as that in one of the photographs. So that's sort of like the narrative that I constructed and the characters. And then in La Negra, the story is that the darker twin sister moves to the States with her daughter. I feel that the photographs, are ambitious in that they're really trying to talk about the conflict of housing, a lot of emotions about all of these things that I've touched upon, like class and race, in one person. So they're ultimately kind of a portrait of my mother, or of myself even, and sort of our internal struggle and conflicts with all of these things, and a lot about how we perceive ourselves. I don't think I would have come up with this idea of my mother playing a maid had I grown up in Panama, because that just wouldn't occur to me. So a lot of the ability to come up with the idea is really a result of having also grown up here, and the perceptions that one feels as a Latina here, which is that might be perceived as a maid at a certain time in history.